Mary Shelley once said, "The history of villains is much more entertaining than that of the villains." Simply put, because monsters are not born, they're created. They do not emerge from emptiness or darkness on their own accord, but are shaped by circumstances, by the wounds of the world around them. They reflect the depths of human pain, rejection, loneliness, and of course, misunderstanding. A hero, of course, is defined by his acts of bravery, but a villain is the result of a heart that was once pure but now corrupted. Monsters and their tragedy show us that it could happen to us all if the world were to turn its back on us. Honestly, that quote by Mary offers a profound exploration of the nature of villains, portraying them as not as inherently evil, but as products of their environment. I strongly believe that villains really are more entertaining and interesting than heroes. We get their origin story of who they were before they became who we see them as now. Villains are made, they're not born. Monsters or villains are not born with darkness. Their creation stems from eternal forces, trauma, rejection, betrayal. That, of course, is going to shape their path. Even though their stories symbolize universal themes of pain, isolation, and misunderstanding, making them relatable and tragic. Heroes, of course, are defined by their bold actions, their moral compasses, whereas villains embody the consequences of corruption and despair. A pure heart twisted by life's injustices. I believe Shelley emphasizes that villains mirror what any person could become if they were neglected enough, suffering, rejection, serving as a warning of how society's actions can breed darkness. In a previous video, I mentioned that villains have a story too. And this is something that really resonates with my heart specifically, because I know that I'm a villain in some people's stories, if not a lot of people. Am I really focused on that? No, I am not. The point of this video is just to share my thoughts. This is, of course, a note to myself that villains really do have a story as well. Even though they are titled a villain, it does not mean that they do not have a story, but of course they do. That is why they are a part of the story to begin with. That is why there is opposition to them, because they matter too. Their perspective matters. How they got here, what they did to get here, and what their plans are matters, even if it means to destroy the hero. I say all of this to say that my voice does matter. Even if I am the villain in a story, your voice matters as well. No matter how people want to paint you, no matter how they receive you or perceive you, your voice still matters, even if you are the villain in their story. Now, what I'm saying is not siding with inflicting pain on everybody and anybody. Everybody gets to smoke. I'm talking about real life people committing crimes, doing illegal activities, ultimately hurting any and everybody. I am not condoning violence in any way. This video is purposefully about writers, creatives, people who navigate life a different way than the typical person. And as you try to navigate your life, you oftentimes shield yourself away from a lot of people or isolate yourself from a lot of people, because over the years, when you were trying to navigate the best way you knew how, people villainized you. There was no extended grace towards you. The moment that you did not abide by their way of living, you became all of the negative things in the world to them, basically putting you in the category of a villain. And you're literally just living life the best way you know how to get to your goals and to be successful and to be a better version of yourself every day, and trying your best to navigate the good, the bad, and the ugly. Ultimately becoming your own hero, where you have been labeled the villain. This is all inspired from the recent events that have happened in My Hero Academia. I really do relate to Tomura Shigaraki, also known as Tenko Shimura. I've been jumping down the rabbit hole of how these characters were developed, or just ideas, think pieces on how the writer even formulated all of it. But honestly, it just spikes up the nerd in me because it just means I have so much more to learn about myself and how to really see the world. Just so that I don't lose all the light that I carry. I do got a kid, so I got to be careful not to do too much. Either way it goes, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Villains do have a story. Even if you don't want to read it, they're still going to write it.